So, boys, I had a good start.
Dreams.
I had an interesting conversation with an 8-year-old.
Really?
Yeah.
Sick.
But I
What did you talk about?
felt like it was a pretty good lessons learned moment.
Okay.
So,
Oh.
I don't know if I told you, I had to go to a funeral on Friday.
Sorry
Mhm.
to hear that.
Yes. But I met my cousin, who's younger. He's like 8, for the first time since he was like actually a baby.
Mm.
And, it was like kind of typical, like 8-year-old, I don't really care about meeting this guy, like whatever,
Yeah.
the way you are when you were that age, where it was like you have to meet all these people who know who you are, but you don't know who they are. And
Oh, yeah.
and all that stuff. And, you could tell he was, like, really not interested in anything. But when I think we finally caught his attention was because my aunt had told him that I was working on trains, and that when I was a little kid, I always wanted to work with trains. So I think he thought that was cool because, like, he's really into planes. And he wants to work on planes or like be a pilot when he gets older. And the big thing I told the kid was, and it really seemed like it resonated with him. I said, "Don't ever let anybody tell you can't do something you want to do."
Facts.
Right.
Mhm.
So and like I could see it in his face, like of all the things we talked about and said, you could kind of tell he was like bobbing in and out, not really paying attention. That was like seemed like the one thing that really grabbed. When I told him that. So I thought that was a pretty cool moment, but it kind of got me thinking, like, why don't people follow and achieve their dreams more? Like, if it's your dream, if it's something you really want to do that bad, why don't you follow it and do it and be happy? So I can say I get to be one of the lucky ones who did get to achieve a childhood dream, but I want to get into kind of why people stray away from it, why it took me so long to, achieve that dream. And we're gonna talk about dreams.
Dreams.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's,
Randy, you're the one. You're the one.
Yeah.
Aside from astronauts, it seems like every kid who wants to be an astronaut ends up doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wanted to be a pro skateboarder, but
broken
that didn't
ankle.
happen.
Yeah, the last time you skateboarded was like 2 years ago, and you sprained your ankle in front of me.
He ate it.
So
That's not the reason I didn't chase my dream.
no, I'm just saying I'm glad you didn't pursue that dream.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine him looking like a long-haired hobo like me riding a skateboard around?
I blame the bowl because none of the skate parks around here are actually made well. Like when you're skating like a concrete bowl, it's supposed to be a smooth transition at the bottom, but instead this transition is like flat and it goes like this, which it feels more like this when you're actually riding on it, but it's not smooth at all. And then, I got some speed and then hit one of the bumps and my ankle slid out.
So Jared didn't achieve his dream to be a pro skateboarder because the
I didn't
balls
break
in
my ankle.
Omaha suck. Got it.
No.
Oh man, we're just kidding. I know you're better at skateboarding than me, man. I can't even.
Yeah, I
ride
could
it. Every
do
time
tricks.
every time I try to ride a skateboard, I either knock myself out or I lose teeth or something bad happens. So I just don't ride anything with wheels like that anymore. I've learned. That's my lesson learned in life is don't ride a board with wheels. I can ride a board on snow, just not with wheels. Yeah. Dreams, man. Dreams are huge. Dreams drive people, right? Randy, it took you a while to get where you're at.
Yep.
And it might not be your final stop. It might not be your actual dream, like, end, right? Like, maybe you want to have your own you want to be the engineer, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
But,
you're working towards it, though. Yeah, you're working towards it, and you're in the beginning stages of it, and that's awesome to see.
Yeah, you also went into physical therapy before you came back to that vision.
Yeah.
You said you always had it in the back of your mind, and then it was really cool like a year ago or 2 years ago to hear you talk about it, and now you're doing it.
Yeah, and it's it's interesting when you think about all the reasons why you didn't do it. Like, why did I not just try and do that from the get-go?
Yeah.
Why didn't you? Did you not speak about it enough? Or like, was it you didn't get enough support, like people trying to help you to get there?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people experience this, but there's pressure to do what people would call bigger and better things, like, go be a doctor, be a lawyer, be a politician, be like this, be that, go to college, do this, do that. There's so much, I think this is one of the big reasons that people don't chase down their dreams, and specifically their childhood dreams, because they get so much pressure not to do it or not to do something else, especially when it's something that's attainable. I mean, attainability is absolutely a big part of it. You have the little kids. Like, I mean, one of my other childhood dreams was to be a pro baseball player, and that one is incredibly, incredibly hard to do. But what about the kid who, like, he wants to be a firefighter, but then he doesn't do it, and then he has some office job that he hates his whole life? It's probably
because people tell him that being a firefighter won't pay enough.
Exactly. Like, it's
probably like all this negative influence you get as you're growing up, maybe like deters you.
You get so much pushback from other people.
Yeah, exactly. So I think my biggest input with this topic is, people are like, for me, people, whatever I wanted to do, people would be like, oh, that's really hard to do. You should do something that's easier. That's awful. That's awful advice. Like, if it's hard to do, give me directions on how to do it.
Yeah. And if it's easy to do, that's why everybody does it.
Yeah. Give me input to get there. I want to be better than everyone else. Like, I want to make it, right?
Right.
And that's what I think, dude. I think I've been pretty good at that in my life. I didn't know what I wanted to do for the longest time, like middle school, high school, even college. Like, I did 2 years of college on a scholarship. And when that scholarship ran out, I stopped school and I just worked at like Lowe's and a gym because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So that was a big problem for me in my childhood, was what the hell, what can I do? Because, I mean, I love them, but my parents were always like pessimist, right? When it came to that aspect, like, oh, that's really hard, like, you sure you want to do that?
What's an example? Like, what's the one thing that you may have ever said you wanted to do or be?
Like physical therapists. They're like, well, that's a lot of school and that's a lot of money, but so what? Make it happen. Like, that's been my biggest perspective change since I joined the military, is like, anything is possible, man. Anything is possible. But as a kid, you don't know this. You trust your parents, and you trust, like the group of 3 friends or 4 friends that you grew up with that, like you, have not left their hometown and experienced the world. So why are you taking advice from these people?
Yeah.
So that's my biggest thing. And then where I'm good at it in my life, that when I said, I was like, I'm just going to join the Air Force. I'll never forget this. There's my cat. I told my dad, I was like, hey, like, I'm going to join the Air Force. And he's like, no, you're not going to do that. It's not for you. I went and signed up. Like, I was like, I'm done with this. I'm done.
That was his response to you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but like, that's just the way my parents are, right? They're supportive, like they like watching me succeed, but there was never like a direction of, you got whatever you want, like whatever you want you can do. That was never told to me. So that's important. Like, Randy, you telling that your 8-year-old cousin that, like, that's gonna hit home. Like, hopefully that kid is successful and holds on to that, like you said.
Yeah, I hope that kid becomes a pilot if that's what he really wants to do. Like, but yeah, I mean, I feel like that's not said enough, especially to kids that young, where it's like, don't just do something because, the adults in your life, like your teachers, like I can't tell you how many times even like teachers, like I would get asked like, what do you want to be? I'd say like, a professional baseball player, because at a certain point that's like what I became, more fixated on. And they would say, instead of saying, oh, that's good, you got to work really hard at it, but you can do it. It was like, oh no, don't do that. Focus on school. Go to college and do this. And it's like, why are you telling this kid this? Like, don't shit on this kid's dreams just because it's something that's hard to do. Like, if he wants to do it, tell him he can do it.
Yeah, give him a sense of direction, set him up for success.
And in a way, like, let him fail on his own. Because then, at least, if it is really what they're passionate about, if it's what they really want to do, they'll work harder at it and go after it more. I think that's why I had such a hard time, you know, going through the things that, like, just like the different career options that I had chosen. Like, when I failed, I kind of like didn't care that I failed because I really didn't care about it. Like, now I finally feel like I found something where I actually like care if I fail at doing it, and it makes me want to work harder to get better at it. I mean, like, I'll make a small mistake at work now, and it's something that's not like really that big of a deal, but it'll like, that's what will stick in my mind from the day. It's like, man, it's like I did everything right and I did this like one thing wrong. Like, you know, if it was like something I didn't care about, I wouldn't care about that. It wouldn't matter to me.
Yeah. You got to set them up for success, right? Like, it's dream crushing, honestly, and it's all about dreams, right? Like, if I've learned anything from the Air Force, it's you can like I already said, like, you can do whatever you want. I mean, you meet people throughout your life, and if you set out to achieve your dreams, like, I'm reading The Alchemist, Rumsey. The Alchemist is like that book. Oh, speaking about The Alchemist, where can you listen to that if you don't want to read it?
Audible, down below. Click the link. You want to know something funny about every time I say Audible?
Yeah.
I'm always like, there's a second I have to think about it so I don't say Audacity because that's what we record on. And I did do it one time. There was one episode where I said Audacity instead of Audible. But yeah, Audible. Down below, I'm pointing in the description. Click the link. You will get audiobooks free for 30 days. Yeah, I said it. I know.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. We did it last time.
To The Alchemist.
You can listen to The Alchemist, like Jared just said. Yeah. Jared, real quick, 10 seconds or less, describe The Alchemist for the people, because I'm not finished reading it. But don't spoil it for me either.
It's about this boy who is growing up as a shepherd, and he wants to, like, that's what he wanted to do for the longest time, and then he wants to travel, and he wants to, like, find this treasure. So he like spends all of his money, he sells all of his cattle to like travel across the desert, and you know, basically the whole story is about him achieving his dream. And then it talks about like different scenarios that will happen along the way. Like he gets robbed, loses all his money, you know, falls in love with a girl, and all this stuff.
I just started that. Quit there.
Clear ahead, damn it.
He just met her.
It's a great
I'm
book.
only halfway. All right. Yeah. Following Your Dreams, though. That's a good book. You should read that book. It'll be, you can get it through an Audible link. So do that. Yeah. Follow your dreams, and like anything can happen, right? Like, so back on my like personal, I guess, life. So I did the Air Force, because I was like, you know what? It's a direction. It's a direction that I want to go. And I'm tired of just sitting in Delaware doing nothing with my life. So I joined. And now I have a dream. For the first time in my life, like, I have a dream of what I want to do. And that is my photography and travel. And I've always loved camping, and I've always liked photography. But, like, I was never given the opportunity to do any of this before the Air Force, right? I didn't have the money for a camera. I didn't have the money to travel. My family didn't really travel growing up. So now my world had been open to this, and this is what I want to pursue now. And like, so I'm going after my dreams, which I guess my childhood dream is to be a hockey player, but I still play hockey. So I'm better than Randy. I'm better at hockey than Randy's at baseball.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know either. I haven't seen you play for a while, but I'm terrible at baseball. And I can outlift Jared Rumsey. Yeah. I'm bigger than Jared, too, in the gym. His dream is to be bigger than me, and it's just, it never happens.
Wow, he's the
just
smallest
impossible.
one in this
It's like no matter
chat room,
I
and he's going
I
off.
go 40 hours a week. I'm still not as big as him.
Oh, man.
What backwards
False.
world are we living in?
False. Jared is way bigger
So
than me.
frustrating.
But no, you know, and I've learned, so this is something you could pass on to not just children, but people who are trying to follow their dreams, or even yourself. Like if you are trying to follow your dream, cut the negativity out. Like I was telling this newer kid at work, he's like, what do you want to do? I was like, oh, I'm going to get out in 2 years. And, you know, I told him my plan, and he's like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. Like, I hope we make it. And I was like, thanks, man. And I was like, yeah, you know, the biggest thing I've learned is like, when you tell people that and they don't respect it and they kind of just like find the negatives in it and they just kind of shit on you, it's like, just don't even pay attention to that, man. And then in the room, somebody else came into the room, and then we were talking about it, and I told him my plan. He's like, oh, yeah, right, you're never going to make that. And I was like, dude, what did I just tell you, right? So this just rolls it right off your back. Like, don't even listen to it. And that is the number one rule for me for following my dream, is make it happen. And when people say no, like, it fuels me even more. It's just fuel to the fire for me. Like, I'm going to make it happen. And you need to be confident, right? So if people tell you no, don't take it to heart. Like, you know your true potential. So
yeah, if you find something you're passionate about, you know, chase it down. Like, again, it took me a little bit longer because I feel like I was kind of pushed in the wrong direction. But you know, I found something like I really like I like being around it. I like doing it, you know, so like, why not pursue that? Like, why not make that a career? Like, everybody, you know, the old cliche phrase is, if you love your job, you'll never work a day in your life. Like, why don't more people strive to do that? I feel like people just get a job because, you know, the ultimate goal is to make money and have a house and this and that, but why can't you be happy at the same time?
Yeah, you know who'd be perfect for this episode, boys, is Mike. Because, you know, my man had that Wall Street job and just sold it all and made himself happy, right? So, and that's awesome. If you can find people like that, and that's the beauty of the internet and social media, is that they're out there very easily and you can find them. And a lot of them even respond. In fact, I just commented on one of the photographers I found when I first started, and commented on a reel of his, and he commented back, like, thanking me for like liking it. And that's big, right? So people out there, like, no matter, I mean, you can get people that are massive on social media, and they'll take the time to respond to you, and like maybe even ask them questions on how they got there and their experience. And it's so doable. Anything in life is so doable. And I love that I've realized that at 28 years old.
Yeah.
Instead of 50.
Yeah. I mean, I said it before, and big shout out to Mike again, but like, I really feel like what he did changed a lot for me. Like, seeing what he did kind of, in a way, changed my life. Like, him changing his life changed my life, because I was able to see what he could do and say, you know, hey, like, why can't I do that too? Like, maybe my passion isn't to get a bus and be on the road and do that all the time, but like, why can't I find something that makes me happy that I can do?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I feel like nowadays, like, for kids growing up today, social media is kind of like it's kind of like a benefit, but also a curse. Because I remember when I was growing up, and one of the reasons that I didn't pursue skateboarding as like a career is because I didn't have like a solid competitive mentor. I grew up around, like, I had brothers and friends who skated, but none of them were like entering contests and like making videos and stuff. And that's one of the things that, you know, kids nowadays have plenty of, but also it might be some like a bit overloaded. So I can see how it'd be a gift and a curse. Yeah,
and I think, you know, it's something we've talked about with social media a lot, is you get a lot of unrealistic expectation, and you only really see the good. Like, you see the benefits of things. Like, you don't see the hard work that goes into it a lot of times.
Yeah.
You don't see, like,
that's
the pain and the struggle that people go through to achieve a certain goal. Like, you only really see the end result.
Yeah, and that's funny you mention that, because I'm trying to, you know, kind of reignite the creative soul in myself and start a YouTube channel. And I want it to be on the process of getting out of the military and like attempting to achieve my dreams, right? And so I want to document all of that, like the struggle, And that's what this podcast was in the beginning too, right? And it still is, right? So like these are things we've learned. These are lessons learned. But that needs to be more present. And Mike does a really good job at that on his Instagram account. So kudos to Mike. I know he's listening. By the way, there's been a lot of people that have like I've run into the past week that are like, dude, I love your podcast. Like, been listening to all the episodes a lot recently. And I was like, what? Like, we've kind of, I mean, it's no secret. We've kind of dipped down a little bit productivity wise. Life happens. But we're trying to revamp it for you guys. But like hearing that, dude, it's so nice. It is so nice.
Also, yeah, I've run into the same thing. Like a couple people this past week have talked to me. And also I realized that between all of our platforms and then YouTube as well, we have like almost 6,000 views or 6,000 like podcast downloads.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a lot.
It's not that bad.
The last time I was looking at it, it was like 3,000.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Which is it's insane.
It's nice. So first off, thank you guys. Second off, I hope we help you through life because that's the entire goal. But yeah, so I think there needs to be more of that. And you know who also does a really good job about this is Tony Stark on his Instagram.
Yeah.
Tony.
He does it.
Should get back on
soon. He does a great job. Yeah, we'll have him back on. Dude, this man has got some stories. Real quick, Tony's been excelling through work, getting all these different positions. He's been grinding away for probably about a year and a half now, if not maybe just a little bit less, but about a year and a half. Just different classes, courses, going through the ringer, and this man is just excelling at it all. So I'm excited to have him back on whenever he gets back in Omaha for a little bit. But yeah, he does a really good job of, he'll post stuff like how to deal with stress, or in case like you need to hear this today. And like I pay attention to it. Like sometimes I click through it when I'm busy, but I'll go back and I'll read the stuff he shares, and you don't realize you need to hear it, and you don't realize you need to read it, and then it kind of just opens your eyes like, oh, whoa, that's sick.
And he's another one. He's another one too who he's good at like reaching out, even if it's in a really small or subtle way.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, every once in a while he'll just like he'll react to one of my Instagram stories or something, and it's like, for him to do that for me, like I don't know Tony that well. I've spoken to him a few times. I met him when I was out in Omaha like once, but we don't know each other that well to the point where, I would say it seems like just a normal thing where he would be doing that, but he does that. Like he reaches out, like he cares about people, even if there are people who play a smaller role in his life. So I think that's great that he does that. And I think that's a big part of it too, is you just get, so much support from everywhere. And it's always something encouraging. Like if he sees that if I posted that I got like a new PR at the gym, like he's on top of it. He's like, oh, great work, man. Keep it up. Like,
yeah. And so that is the benefit of chasing your dreams, and like social media is fantastic for that. So I'm excited to share the highs and the lows on my YouTube. It's not out yet, so don't try and search for it because I haven't even recorded a single video. It's in the brainstorming process right now. But it also ties into, getting out there. Like the more people who see my YouTube, my Instagram, will then hopefully later on in 2 years when I get out and have my own business, I've now created a following to sort of book and network people and trips, right? So that's the whole plan for me. And that's just kind of how I'm chasing my dreams right now, is like one little baby step at a time, and realizing that it's not going to happen overnight. Like it's been 3 years in the making now. And I mean, I still haven't even really started. Like it's still brainstorming. I'm learning like the trades to my dream right now. There's just a lot to like software wise, and even just how to use my camera. Like every time I pick it up, I learn something new about it. So chasing your dreams isn't going to happen overnight, but it will happen if you pursue it. Like everyone's success stories, everyone, even with our own Instagram page, like we follow motivational people all the time. And like just scrolling through our own page, it motivates me, man, because the people who've made it are the ones, they all say the same thing. Just do it. Just get out and make it happen, and don't let people tell you you can't. And that's like, Randy, that's like the best thing. Like you told that kid, like that'll stick with him for life.
Yeah, and like I said, just like I could see it, and it was so cool to see it in his face. Like,
Yeah.
you know, again, we're talking in the beginning. It's like the typical meeting a family member that you really honestly don't care. Like you're a kid, like whatever. You don't even want to be there. And you're kind of like bobbing in and out. And then like to actually see his like, attention get grabbed, and then like it really seemed like what I said sunk in.
Yeah.
Like that was really cool to see.
I remember one of my high school teachers, when I applied to become a pilot in the Air Force, I used this as a quote for like to my commander. He's like, well, I applied, and he's like, I want you to think about it for a day. Come back to me tomorrow. Send me an email of why you want to do this, and if you're sure that you want to do this. And I was dead set on becoming a pilot. So I remembered something my teacher told me in high school, sophomore year in high school, English class. She said, Chris Lettieri, that sounds like it's going to be a really important name one day. And like when you tell someone that, like she didn't know what I wanted to do. She didn't know.
Neither did you, apparently.
Yeah, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but it's stuck with me all these years later, right?
I bet.
Yeah, so like that, if you could encourage people like that, you have no idea how much words really empower people. I mean, that's what, 10 years later, and I still remember that.
Yeah.
So that's wild.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you boys think? Any final closing thoughts before we wrap it up?
Just do it.
I think if you see someone talking about a dream or thinking about it, then try to support them.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a reason why a lot of people don't pursue them, is they don't have encouragement. They don't have support, especially at a younger age.
Yeah.
Kids need that, because if you're a kid, if you don't have a car, you can't drive yourself to skateboarding competitions or whatever. So if you see your kid like out in the yard practicing baseball for like hours on end by themselves, or like skateboarding on the street just on flat ground for like hours at a time. Mm-hmm. If you see them like actively working on something, especially if they're just alone doing it because it's what brings them joy and they really want to work on it, then try to support them in any way you can. Like if you don't know about it, like do a quick Google search, like different competitions for like sports, or like I don't know, just try to like educate yourself a little bit on like different events that that are around you that involve that particular thing, and then just try to support them. Support is huge.
And really, why not? Because what harm comes from it? You know, like why not tell them? Like even if you're thinking in the back of your mind, like there's no way this kid can do this, but like, hey, let him prove you wrong.
Yeah,
give him the encouragement. You know, like who cares? There's no harm.
Or watch them fail and then see how they react.
Yeah,
if they fail and then they're out there twice as hard. If they're out there, practicing whatever 2 hours earlier and they're practicing it 2 hours later in the day.
Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, pay attention to that.
Yeah, that is one thing that I wish I had. Like I always, I played hockey growing up, but again, my parents were always like, I mean, they'd get me like a stick here and there, but like I wanted to play. Like I wanted gear, and I didn't know of any leagues around. But like me and my brothers, we would drive to the YMCA parking lot and like meet up with the other town kids. And like I met some kids doing that, and like they were way better than me. And I didn't have the right gear, but like I slowly progressed, and my parents like slowly would buy me a pair of rollerblades. But I wanted to play ice. Like I had, and this is also where I moved to Delaware, so it kind of sucked. But Randy Walkill, my freshman year, I believe. So you're sophomore. I believe the hockey team needed like one more person. At least this was the rumor. They needed like one more person, and I didn't have the gear, and I was moving. I number one, I wish I had the gear, and number two, I wish I didn't move, because who knows where I would have been now playing hockey.
You never know.
And like that's something. As a kid, I was always playing hockey, but I never got the opportunity to go play for a team, or like I never got the encouragement to go do that, right? But that's okay, because I am 28 and I'm playing hockey, and it hurts my body like I'm 70 years old. So maybe I would already have surgeries and stuff. I don't know where I would be, but
Early
I'm
retirement.
happy with my life. Yeah, I'm happy with my life and where I've ended up so far. But yeah, just encourage people.
And if you're not,
encouragement goes a long way.
do something about it.
What do you mean?
If you're not happy, like if you're listening and you're not happy with where you are in life, again, take it from me. Do something about it. Don't wait.
Yeah.
Do it.
It's better to go cold turkey and just fail, but learn from the failures and get up and go again. And get up and go again. Than to just not try at all, because you're going to hit 80 years old one day and have a life full of regret, being like, well, I never really did what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So what was all this time for? Yeah, chase those dreams. Chase those dreams.
Send
or as
it.
Mike would say, chase
What
makes you feel alive. Oof.
Hey.
Oof.
We'll hashtag it.
We did it.
Wow.
I'm really motivated right now. I wanna hop on my bicycle and go for a long ride now.
Just watch your ankles.
There you go. Yeah.
Here's my bike setup, by the way.
Oh,
Ooh,
man.
Here we go.
If anyone wants to see it.
Oh,
What's the
yeah.
setup? I got
Oh,
the table,
nice, man.
the fan there. Yeah, so I can hook up my laptop and have Zwift there.
Nice, man. Oh, yeah. Maybe your dream will be to get legs as big as mine one
God,
day.
his camera. Nah, just try something.
Well, yeah, thanks for listening, guys. I hope you took away something from this episode, because it's actually it's a huge deal. It's a massive, probably the biggest deal I've ever dealt with in my life was I needed to be motivated. And so one last final point for me is, if you don't know what your dream is, that's okay. It will come, right? It'll come. That was my biggest problem in life, is I did not know what I wanted to do. But you'll get there. So don't sweat that. If you're like going to college and you don't know what you want to do, maybe don't waste the money. Like Randy, maybe don't waste the money and chase a railroad job. Like you enjoy it.
Yeah.
So you don't need a degree like people tell you need. But then again, you might need to for your job. Anyway, follow those dreams. With that, Jared, take it away for the outro.
Do it.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been Lessons Learned. We hope you enjoyed this episode on dreams. If you have a dream that you chased or didn't end up chasing, leave it in the comments below. Shoot us a message on Instagram. Tell us about it. We would love to talk to you about it and have your thoughts and opinions on the matter. Yeah, you can find our social links below in the description. We drop an episode every Monday. And this has been Lessons Learned. Until next time.
See ya.
See ya.